Hey everybody, this is Doug Kenny and Andy McPhee from Relentless and Unstoppable. Today we have Daniel Reeder with us, and some of you might remember that last time he was on here he talked about bullying with us alongside Sam Greco, and now he's here to tell a different part of his journey as well, into acting and motorcycling and all that. Hey guys, how you doing?
Going well. How are you?
Hey Dan, how you doing, mate? Hey Doug, how you going? Just again, so everyone knows where we are. Obviously, I'm in my car. I've just landed in Australia a couple of months ago. Dan, you're up in Queensland, correct?
Yeah, correct. Sunshine Coast. Yeah.
Yep. And for those overseas, grab out your map and Google it. Dan's in a really lovely part of the country where it's always warm. Probably had a bit too much rain lately, but I think it's easing off a little bit now, isn't it, Dan?
Yeah, definitely had a lot of rain. Luckily enough for us, we're in Coolum Beach and we're up on a hill, so we weren't affected personally, but a lot of people around here were, which was
it was terrible.
Yeah.
Like and it wasn't just a flooding, it would stop and then it would reoccur again, the rains would come again, and they just cleaned up a lot of the places, or the water dropped, then bang, it all hit again. That must have just been so stressful for people, you can't even imagine, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it took a lot for them to get over the first one, and then for another one to come through so soon, it took a lot by surprise. So.
Well, look, Dan, I'm back in Australia. We both had the pleasure of working on a film together a few years back, and I've just finished up in Sydney on a Disney project, and now I'm back in Melbourne. So I'm really glad to be back in Australia. LA is a fantastic place. The States is great, but I'm just glad to be home and catching up with friends and, you know, getting to work with a lot of my mates again. And I'm sure you feel the same. I'm sure you'd like to get to LA, but it's nothing like home as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Really look forward to going over. I went over, luckily enough, to go over for the Spiderhead premiere in New York. So got to spend a little bit of time over there, and that was just absolutely amazing. So really keen to go over to do some work, but yeah, there's no place like home. It's just amazing here, and loving it in Queensland as well.
Oh yeah. So it's good to be back home. It's good to see your face again, Dan. Doug, let's go over to you and kick off some questions for Dan.
Yeah, so Dan, what was your upbringing like?
My upbringing, it was interesting. I was born in Melbourne, but then we grew up in central Victoria, and we grew up on a bit of property, and we lived in a caravan while we built a shed, and then we lived in the shed while we built a mud brick house. So that's how my life began, and it was quite interesting, and it was good living out in the bush and, having a lot of local farmers around you and things like that. And yeah, so that's how I grew up. I grew up out in the bush, not in the nightclubs.
That's really interesting. Yeah, so go ahead, man.
No, Dan, no, go on. Go. I was going to call you Scotty. No, you go, Doug.
That's really cool, man. So what was your bullying experiences you mentioned earlier like?
So it actually, when I first experienced it, it was more I was seeing other people being bullied. So it actually happened to other people in front of me before it happened to me. And it actually upset me a lot seeing it happen and seeing why it happened. And it was people that were, smaller and weaker and less money and dirtier clothes and things. And I also had dirtier clothes and less money and a bit smaller and things like that. But for some reason, they were picking on them, not me. But it just really upset me. And I started sticking up for these people. And that didn't mean just fighting everybody left, right, and centre. This just meant I was strong enough to have a voice and just say something about it and manage to end a lot of it. Then over the next few years, bullying came to my direction and learned to stand up for myself, and then it swiftly stopped for me. So I was quite lucky, but once again, I just saw it left, right, and centre all around me to the people I knew. So yeah, it was almost harder to see it happen to other people than it was for it to happen to myself.
Yeah, yeah. And sort of now where you are now, the motorcycle club, which you're going to tell us about that you're involved in, that's it's not really anything to do with bullying, but it's probably very similar effects, you know, post-traumatic stress, veterans, etc. So can you share a little bit about the club you're in, Dan?
Yeah, definitely. So this club was founded many years ago, and it's called the Partisans, and started off as Partisans Military Motorcycle Club. So it was an MMC, not an MC, and we had a bit of a difference to other MMCs where we allowed female veterans to be a part of the club as well. And it wasn't just like an MC where you just catch up and you just drink and you just go on rides and things. We actually had a goal, and our main goal was to raise money for Ward 17, a PTSD hospital. So this PTSD hospital caters not just for military personnel with PTSD, but also first responders. So very close to all our hearts, and every single ride we did, and whether we did, say, a dice run where you pay a bit of money to come and be a part of it and you win some prizes, all the money goes towards 17 to help with PTSD and mental illness.
Whereabouts is that hospital, Dan? What state?
That's down in Melbourne, down in Victoria. So
oh, right.
Yeah, so quite amazing. We even had Charlie Hunnam come and pay a visit while we were there because he heard about what we were doing, and he came along and checked it out. So, and as you know, Charlie, you've worked with him. So, yeah, he came down, checked it out.
Nice.
Yeah, he was very, very impressed with what we had going on, and we are as well. And I think we've just come up to about our 7th birthday, I believe, for the club. So, another big turning point for the club, being a military motorcycle club can also scare people away a little bit. So we even took a step back to make it a bit smarter, and we took off the MMC altogether. So it's Partisans, and we're a charitable organisation, simple as that. So you do not have to ride bikes to be a member. You just have to be willing to help in any way you can towards the end goal, things like that. So we've got support teams as well.
And you don't have to be in the military now at all?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. So that gives people an opportunity to jump on and not feel sort of left out, like including everybody and anybody who wants.
Yep, definitely. And we do get treated a lot differently on the roads as well, because we don't have 3 patches on our back showing we're an outlaw group or anything. We'd have a number plate on our back, just one little patch saying the Partisans. In Queensland, we don't wear it at all. We don't wear any number plates. It's just a little bit different up here. But yeah, we've just got our vests, and in a way we do look like a bunch of bikers, but when people actually do know what we're out there about, and we do look different to the rest of the bikers as well, and we have cars with us too. So we do stand out a little bit better, and people understand what we do, and it's the word's spreading and it's growing. It's really good.
Oh, that's great, mate. Douglas.
So, Daniel, tell us about your role alongside Andy in The Faceless Person.
Yeah, The Faceless Man. That was a really good film, feature film shot in Victoria. And yeah, Andy and I were the 2 guys in this little town, and these young hoons are coming in and they're bringing drugs into our town, and we and our boss don't like it. So yeah, we take a stand.
We were the town councillor, the psychologist, I think. Was that correct?
Yeah, definitely. We've persuaded them in several different ways that it's not a good idea to do drugs, and definitely don't bring them into our town. So yeah, it's an R-rated film, and it's called The Faceless Man. It's got a lot of great reviews all around the world. Yeah, you should check it out.
I'll have to watch it.
It's a great film because. Oh, sorry, Doug.
I'll have to watch it for sure. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, it is, because the guy who did it, like he raised all the money, and he actually nearly put himself in hospital. In fact, I think he did at some stage, because the stress of doing all this himself, and the money, and just everything. And like he was a great example of someone who, you know, just kept going. And he did have, I think he actually did have a bit of a nervous breakdown there for a little bit during the filming, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, he's an amazing fellow, and he's done so much great work. I've been lucky enough to be a part of a couple of his projects and two of his shorts and one of his features. So, yeah, great fun to work with him. James DiMartino, he really knows what he's doing. So, and he's got a stellar.
He's a great guy and very passionate, very passionate.